We have one more weapon to break down for the assault class in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that's the A280. So how does it stack up against the rest? We'll find out. Welcome back to Blasters Breakdown, where we look at all the blasters available in Star Wars Battlefront 2 and what they bring to the table. Today's target is the A280 for the assault class. While we covered a variant of the A280 for the specialist earlier in the series, there are some minor differences between the two. The A280 is the first weapon you'll unlock for the assault class and has 3 attachments available. They are dual zoom, improved cooling, and improved range. If you are a specialist player, slap that dual zoom and improved cooling on and you'll love this weapon. If you're like me and not a fan of the scopes in this game, leave the dual zoom off and pick up improved range and you'll do alright. This weapon, unlike the other weapons in the assault category, is 3-round burst rifle and is good mostly at medium range. Before we get into the stats on this one, if you enjoy this video or the Blaster Breakdown series, make sure to hit the like button to let me know, and then hit the subscribe and notification button so you don't miss when new videos are out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central. Streams are open to everyone, so if you're on the PlayStation 4 and you want to play with us, go ahead and add me as a friend and we'll go ahead and invite you in, or you can join in-game if we're already playing. Also, be sure to check out our partners at StarWarsGaming.net. It's an amazing site that'll keep you up to date with all games in the Star Wars gaming universe, and that's where I pick up the majority of news about Star Wars Battlefront 2. There's a link down in the description below. Speaking of the description, make sure you check out the information on how to win a $50 gift card to the system of your choice for the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. You'll need to be a subscriber to win, so make sure to click that button if you haven't already. Stay tuned till the end and we'll play Can I Get Up There?, where we see what we can get on top of. This will be for Kashyyyk on Phase 1, and it's using Spider Heavy, which pretty much from here on everything's using Spider Heavy. So let's go ahead and get into the A280. The A280 has 24 rounds of continuous fire before it's being forced to cool. With the weapon being a 3-round burst, that gives you 8 pulls of the trigger before needing to cool without the cooling modification. If you're using the cooling modification, which I always recommend, more rounds downrange is always good. Then you'll have 30 rounds available, which is 10 bursts total. Right now in patch 1.2, the cooling modification is broken, like on all other weapons, so you won't have the 10-round bursts available until it's patched, but it'll be fixed soon and everything will be okay. If we compare that to the specialist version of the weapon, the A280 CFE, you only have 15 rounds available and no cooling option. I'm not sure why they chose to do it this way, since the stats are very similar on both of these weapons, and really I feel like they need to buff the CFE variant to at least the 24 rounds available. However, right now, if you're a specialist and like running the CFE, the assault version is already stronger when it comes to rounds available. Burst weapons are also very unforgiving in the rate of fire department, due to having a delay between each burst and the need for you to pull the trigger properly to reach the maximum rate of fire available. If you're a little off, you just suffered a huge drop to your rounds per minute that a fully automatic weapon doesn't need to worry about. When it comes to the rate of fire, the A280 has a rate of fire of 240 rounds per minute, which is tied to the EL16 HFE. Now before you hit the comments saying, wait a tick, it fires 3 rounds super fast. And to you, you are correct. However, if you take into account the delay between the bursts, the rate of fire drops to the painfully low 240, which again is tied for lowest in class. Speaking of lowest in class, when we come to damage, while the raw damage per round isn't the lowest available, the damage per second certainly is. At least until you hit long range, then it moves up to second lowest, that's above the CR2. The damage per round with the A280 is 33 damage per round at close range, and that drops to 19 damage at long range. If you use the improved range modification, it still only does 33 damage at close range, but the minimum damage increases to 26 damage per round at long. The only weapon this beats is the damage per round of the CR2. However, the CR2 has such a fast rate of fire, the time to kill at close to medium range is actually higher than the A280. The damage chart on this one is exactly the same to the specialist variant of the CFE at close range, but the CFE does 25 damage at long. So again, the assault version with improved range is stronger than the CFB version of this weapon. When it comes to the number of rounds to kill, at close range you'll be able to drop a specialist in 4 rounds, an assault or officer in 5 rounds, and a heavy in 7 rounds, making it able to drop all but the heavy class in 2 bursts without a headshot. If you start pushing long range, it'll take 6 for the specialist or 2 bursts, 8 for the officer or assault or 3 bursts, and 11 for the heavy, which is 4 bursts. If you're using the improved range modification, which is what I run, long range will take 4 rounds for a specialist, which is still 2 bursts, 6 for an officer or assault, which is down to 2 bursts instead of 3, and 8 for the heavy, which is down to 3 bursts instead of 4. Since the improved range modification drops the number of bursts needed by 1, I would definitely recommend using it over the dual zoom scope since it's faster to drop enemies. Ideally, with this damage profile, you don't want to have to expend more than 2 bursts on any target, so it's best to keep in medium range with this weapon, but not too close since the other weapons in the game have a much faster rate of fire, unless it's a specialist with a true DMR. When it comes to accuracy though, the A280 is pretty accurate compared to the other weapons. Being a burst weapon, the pause between each burst gives the reticule time to tighten back up, making it easier to land consecutive shots to a stationary target. When it comes to a moving target, however, you need to be sure to lead a little with this one, since they will run out of target for all 3 rounds of the burst if you miss, and again, this will cause a massive drop to your DPS. It's usually best for this weapon to try to stay away from the front lines for this exact reason, since if you miss a burst at close range, you're not going to win that fight. Now this next statement is going to make someone rage, but remember, this is just my opinion and you're entitled to disagree with me. We can still be friends. The A280 is the worst weapon available to the assault class. The damage is lower than any other weapon besides the CR2, but it lacks the rate of fire to make up for it. It's a burst rifle, which is very unforgiving already, and coupled with the lowest rounds per minute in class, it's just frustrating to use. It ranks last in almost every category available statistically, and you would be better off using the initial assault weapon, which ranks second in almost every category. Personally, I prefer the initial assault weapon, so I guess I'm a little biased there, but the numbers just don't lie on this. Now, if you enjoy this weapon, keep using it. More power to you, and make sure you take pride knowing that you're using the worst statistical weapon available in class. And hopefully you're still doing well. Stay strong out there. For the rest of you, if you want a ranged weapon, use the EL16HFE, and if you want a close range weapon, use the CR2. Both of these do really well at medium range. And if you're a specialist thinking about coming over to assault, just know that the rate of fire on this is lower than the A280 that you're coming from. So you will feel a little bit of a difference there. I was running the specialist all night tonight on my stream, and I was actually liking the A280 CFE a lot more than I was liking the A280 when I was filming this. So let's move on to Can I Get Up There? Where we see what we can climb on top of. Some of it's useful, most of it's not, but it's always fun. We'll be using Spider Heavy on Kashyyyk Phase 1, and we're going to spider on top of a downed MTT, so you can climb up all the downed MTTs on this map, but only one of them will allow you to get to the very top. So you'll find the spot closest to the ground, activate your sentry ability, and spider your way up to the very top. Once you're at the top, go ahead and place down your ion turret because every heavy's running it, and then just sit back and watch your assist roll in. You're welcome for making this map more annoying than it already is. Thank you all for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe and check out our friends at StarWarsGaming.net, and I'll see you in game.
Spider heavy, go on top of the entity. Gonna snipe with my gun, gonna make people really mad. Look out, here comes the spider heavy. Oh, that didn't go far enough.
I can't fire. Why is it not letting me fire? Oh.
What's that not killing that guy?
Man, I had the perfect spot. I was working my way around everyone. There were 3 in front of me. Got 2.
There's like,
and for whatever reason, I could not fire on the 3rd one.
There's no cover up here. Try and get that turret down so I can stay up here.
Damn it.
Damn it. Do you play on the Pro? No, this is, I don't have a Pro. Pros are expensive, and I'm cheap.